Let's talk about these easy little things that you're too lazy to do, even though they could stack up to increase your win rate by up to 10% on any roll. Like, check this out. I shoot the sonic arrow almost straight up so that I have it off cooldown by the time the wall hack duration runs out. The rain equivalent to this trick would be to get a fire strike angle between fights to get extra ult charge. But yeah, as you can see, being able to use the sonic twice helped me get the kill on the hanzo here. And like I said in the previous video, you don't want to take risks on defense unless you lose the point otherwise. But here I eliminated the risk, the hanzo, so I can freely play aggressively on the high ground and finish off the enemy team. So because of this one tiny extra thing that I did, we rolled the enemy team and got the ultimate advantage. And some of you guys are gonna be thinking like, this tip doesn't apply to me, I'm just plat, I can't hit shots like this. But like, that's not the point. I'm not gonna hit these shots every time either. My point is that if you play 100 games the way you normally do and get 50 wins and 50 losses, even just doing this one trick whenever you can will turn 2 of the losses into wins. So you will end up 100 SR higher than you normally would after these 100 games. A good example of something you can do to win more that requires 0 skill is, instead of watching anime between rounds, listen to what kind of sounds the enemy team is making. Check their positions. Like 1 out of 5 games you're going to be like, oh, I hear a Pharah. I should probably switch from Reaper to Soldier and also inform my team. Or like, oh, they're setting up to hold us inside our spawn. And boom, once again, probably like 2 extra wins per 100 matches. Now, when you play 100 games, you do 2 tricks, you will end up 200 skill rating higher than you normally would. Just these 2 tiny tricks. It sounds too good to be true, but it's not, I promise you. Like, even on this other example where you don't watch anime between rounds, this is also going to help you stay focused in the match. Just like, instead of doing other stuff, you're going to be thinking about the enemy team's position and what you should do, who you should try to shoot first, where you should exit from spawn, all these things. Probably the most simple trick that will get you the most wins, like maybe even 4 extra matches out of 100, is calling out low HP targets. I should do this more as well. Like, sometimes I'm lazy, just like you guys. But yeah, like whenever you hit a body shot on someone's hanzo, they are going to be at 75 HP. So call it out. Maybe someone else can finish them off. But yeah, this requires you to switch to open microphone setting, which most of you are not comfortable with. But if you can get comfortable with it, that could be up to 200 SR extra per 100 games. So now 3 extra things you do every match and suddenly you climb 350 SR in 100 games. Or 3.5 extra skill rating per match played. Next up, let's talk about figuring out if the enemy team has ultimates. Like here, it's obvious, it's been 3 minutes, they haven't used Nano Boost or Blade yet, so they must have it. So I'm gonna be playing very defensively and try to focus the Genji. So I go on the high ground here, but now my teammates are already dying. So I need to take the risk here now to dive the Genji to kill him, because if we are gonna win this fight, we need to take out the Nano Blade before it happens. But yeah, it didn't happen, and they didn't even use Nano Blade. Wait, I don't think they're nano-bladed, right? So now, for the next team fight, I know to play very far away. Here I pick off the flanking Echo, and since they have 1 person down, they're most likely not gonna use any ultimates to dive. But just to be safe, I'm gonna play far back anyways. And yeah, I'm gonna expect the Nano Blade to come in hard, so I'm gonna be split from my team very far back. And if I'm lucky, the Genji goes for me. So then he will waste most of his Nano Blade just to get 1 kill. Like here it happens, he kills me, there's no one else. So they just use 2 ultimates for 1 kill and I even get rest. But yeah, trying to keep track of the enemy team's ultimates and what they're gonna use next fight is gonna be very difficult. It's gonna take a lot of time for you to learn this. But just being aware of how important it is and that it is a big possibility to do this is going to make you improve much faster on this. So I recommend you get on that as fast as possible. And there's so many tiny things you can do to increase your win chance that don't really require much skill. Like for example, if you get picked off at the start of a fight when you're defending, switch to a fast hero, like Tracer or Soldier, just Doomfist, something to get back to the point faster. Maybe you get like 1 or 2 extra wins per 100 games again. Like at this point we're stacking up to like, I lost count, like what are we at 500 SR climb per 100 matches already? Just think about how many close games you have had that you've lost. All of those would probably be wins if you just did all these tiny things that you can to increase your chance of winning just a tiny bit. All these tiny things that maybe make you win 1 extra team fight per match. Like that 1 extra team fight could decide whether you win or lose the match. But again, she wants me. But yeah, here's a good example of just calling out low HP targets. Echo 1, Echo 1. Ana 1, Ana 1. You do have limited time and brain power between fights and during fights. So you kind of have to decide what you're gonna spend your time on between fights. But like most people, they spend the time on scratching their ass. So just do something beneficial with every second of the match.
I have taken the treasure.
I was entertained to take this money.
A good example of how you can effectively use your time between fights is look at the scoreboard to figure out what ults are they gonna use next, try to guess that, and look at what heroes they have. Like, okay, I'm playing Hanzo, they're playing Diva and Genji, so they're probably gonna try to dive me, so I need to keep an eye out on them, and once they are like looking at me and walking towards me, just back up preemptively so that I don't die. Or try to shoot at them before they dive me so that they are too low HP to do this. Like right here I was aware enough that I know the Genji is gonna go for me after I get rest, so I go for this weird flank. And yeah, then he does use the blade on me, but he had to go all the way around, and he once again ends up wasting most of his blade to kill me. Next up, I'm gonna be talking about some high IQ prediction when it comes to aiming. And this is especially important on Hanzo, and this is why aim trainers are useless compared to just practicing in a real match, okay? I always say don't shoot at targets who expect you to shoot at them. But you can actually take advantage of the fact that they are expecting you to shoot at them, like here, after I kill the Echo. If I wasn't aiming at the Hanzo, he would probably keep going to the right, but since he's aware that I'm aiming at him, he will want to switch direction to get cover behind this box, so I just shoot to his left side instead and get a free kill. Something I forgot to talk about is like, don't waste your ultimates. There's always some guy in my chat who's gonna be like, why didn't you use your dragon there? You could have already used it twice by now. But I can't see the future. I don't know if I get a situation where I actually need the ultimate. And like, here's a good example. It's like, we already won the fight. They're backing up, they're surrounded. But I want to make this video more impressive. So I used the dragon here even though I didn't have to, so that I get 2 nice kills. Like, of course, it's a nice dragon, but they would have died anyways. And now we're going to the second point, and I don't have my ultimate anymore. There's almost an unlimited amount of little things you can do to give yourself an advantage. Like even here, I could be checking my posture and re-gripping my mouse to make sure I'm still holding it correctly. So what I mean by this is I just let go of the mouse a tiny bit, move my hand a tiny bit, just try to find the grip that feels the most comfortable, as in the grip that I'm used to. Because in this team fight, at some point, or maybe even all the way from the start, my mouse grip was wrong, so I just started missing a lot of shots, which leads into this kind of panic and makes me miss even more shots. But yeah, in my opinion, there are 2 main things that make your aim worse during a long team fight, and the first one is obviously fatigue. And the second one, not necessarily a smaller problem, is that maybe your mouse grip slips a bit at some point during the fight, and then you just start missing everything. Like, let me show you something after this round that will blow your mind. Holy shit, how did that... I don't know. But yeah, just look at my aim here. Like, it's just like, I am hitting some shots, but it's mostly the shots where I don't have to rapidly move my mouse, or maybe just don't have to move my mouse at all. Like, I just started missing everything. It could also be fatigue, but I remember clearly that I was just aware that, okay, my mouse grip was wrong here. It's just painfully awkward to look at this, like, just compared to how hard I popped off before in this match. But now that it's a long fight, and you just are kind of just tunnel visioned. You don't have time to think about your mouse grip and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just my effectiveness goes down by so much. But yeah, like I said before, if you don't believe that mouse grip is like really that important and stuff like that, I'll show you something that's going to blow your mind as soon as this round is over. So in like 3, 2, 1. Nice. Okay, so check this out. I'm gonna find the correct mouse grip here and good posture. And now when I move the mouse from left to right, it's gonna be basically at the same height all the time, the crosshair. But now, let's say I'm in an intense long team fight and my mouse grip slips a bit, so I start holding it a bit differently, so maybe my mouse tilts to the left a bit, like this. And now, when I try to go left and right, you can see the difference. So yeah, like if you're just relying on your muscle memory, you're in an intense team fight, you're trying to flick, and your mouse is not correctly gripped the way you're used to, then you're just gonna miss all the shots. If you want more content like this, make sure you press that like button to let me know. Maybe even leave a comment. Also subscribe so you don't miss any future content, because like the YouTube algorithm really hates me. Ah,
Yo, Arrge, I have a last question.
GG.
Do you know Michael?
Michael these nuts.
No.